Hello and welcome back to another Scratch tutorial. So, I know it's been a long time. It's been so long that Scratch actually changed the delete logo on the Scratch Cat icon. It's been that long. I love that trash can. Anyway, I know it's been a while, but today I'm going to make a fairly important video. So, let's say you have the game of a lifetime, or I hope that you don't on Scratch, but you have a really great game, but it suffers from the it suffers from lag. I was trying to think of a more elaborate introduction to that, but no. so, um, so, uh, Scratch has a problem with handling large amounts of code at once. It's like all computers end up not being able to do this because eventually you'll reach a point where you can't you you can't keep programming because it will just run too slow or it will be completely too much for the computer to handle. Um, so there's a few ways you can combat um, combat lag in your program. So first of all, if you're this won't do a whole lot, but let's say you're doing some complicated calculations. Um, Something you don't want to do is this. This is called nesting expressions. So, um, if you do this where I don't know why it works like this, but if you nest the expression like this, it will take longer to solve than if you take the same expression or, well, not necessarily the same expression, but like if you solve the equation more like this, as symmetrical as possible with these, it actually cuts down on a lot of time that the computer processes it. I'm not quite sure why. You could probably find a better explanation than I can give, but that does. If you're doing a huge amount of calculations with big equations, that will definitely help, but it's not. It won't do like a whole lot of. Especially if you're just doing this a couple of times. But like, let's say you're still going super slow, and so let's say you have some custom blocks. So what these are, if you haven't watched that video, you basically attach you attach whatever code you want onto here, um, something like that, and then this runs this code. Now, let's say you have something like this. You'll see that that does take a bit of time. And if you're running this block every frame, that will really slow you down, especially if it's like if you're processing a bunch of different objects at once using lists or something. This will take a long time. So what you can do is if you right click this block and click edit and you go back into the editor, one of the options is run without screen refresh, and this will make the block process it will make it process a lot faster. So when you click on it, it doesn't look like it does anything, but it's cycling pretty much. It's cycling as fast as it can in this case. It shows up like that. I'm not sure why, but this does work if you check this box. And now along the same lines, you can also shift click the flag, which essentially turns on the no refresh for the entire project. And the issue with this is it usually breaks projects that because it runs everything as fast as Scratch can do it. So it makes it as so. Yeah, I'm going in circles a bit. It uh so it makes everything go as fast as possible when you just might want to have this part of the main loop uh be that fast. So um the it usually breaks projects, but if it doesn't, then it might be good to use. But if it doesn't work with your project, the best thing to do is to run the fast screen refresh. I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure if you can tell, but my phone is ringing really loud right now. And okay, sorry. So, that's another method you can use. That's actually probably the best way if you're running it in this player. But let's say, sorry, missed one thing. Let's say you've done those things I just mentioned, and it's still lagging. And let's say you have a lot of these functions on flag repeat forever running your code. That is not what you want to use. What you actually want to have instead is you want to have a loop like this, and then repeat forever, broadcast a message and wait. Then when it receives the message, it does whatever it does a single time each in the repeat forever loop. So I'm just going to make this pretty simple, but let's say it used to say have this as the contents of the repeat forever loop. Instead, you can say whenever it receives a message, because it's sending the message very frequently. So, and then that way you can synchronize multiple sprites running different code. And this works especially well if you're having if you have a bunch of different sprites running code at once, but they need to be synchronized and it's running slowly. That might cause them not to synchronize, or at least just not to work super well. And this just kind of makes everything line up, even if it isn't running very fast. Another thing you can do with this is you can control the frame rate. So you can say like, wait my variable seconds, and then you can adjust this. So if there's a pause between frames and if it's running very slowly, you can add a pause between broadcasts and it will actually run a little bit faster. So you can have that as a slider or something. Yeah, that's a good way to mitigate being the slowness. But it just, when it's running below 10 frames per second, it usually isn't a very engaging way to play a game, because I know there are ways where you can just work on it and it will end up being it will still be absorbing, but it just kind of detracts from the experience. So let's say you have something like this. So this is one of my projects, and it runs incredibly slow in Scratch, if you can tell. Anyway, so this is a project that is it's completely pen, so the computer completely draws the entire thing. So you see there's only one sprite and it doesn't have any costumes. So let's say you have something like this, a project like this with pen. The best way to make it run fast, so you might remember me mentioning Phosphorus, which was an alternate player, but you'll find that no Scratch 3.0 projects run in here. But then someone made this, which is called Forkforus, which in my opinion isn't a very creative name because they just wrote fork in the beginning of the element. But anyway, so this person, not quite sure. Okay, it's someone named Nathan created this, and so you can copy the link of your pen project, and let me note this does not run cloning very fast. But if you paste it in here, this project will work very fast. Yeah. Anyway, so if you have pen projects, this is a great one. This is a great resource to use. Anyway, so let's say it's not a pen project. It uses sprites, it's cloning, and it won't work, or something weird happens in Phosphorus where it doesn't run, or all of the colors are messed up, or something like that. Well, you'll notice this says full screen, and then it says editor if you go into the editor. Well, if you, this is like pretty much the final way you can fix the project running slowly. Type embed at the end of this and click enter. Now it'll show up with this page. It will show up with this page, and basically it doesn't have the editor. It doesn't have anything. It has the flag, the stop, and a link to Scratch, and that's pretty much it. Which it runs a lot faster on here. It still runs pretty slowly with pen, but if you have cloning and stuff, it runs a lot faster, or if you specifically designed a pen project to work faster on Scratch with some methods, certain methods, then this is a great resource to use. You see it still runs so slow, though, that when I run into lasers in this game, the lives don't go down. But this is great if you have projects with a lot of clones or a lot of sprites that run slowly. So again, just type embed at the end of the after the slash which has the numbers in between it. So those are in my opinion the best ways to I think these are the best ways to whoops. These are the best ways to eliminate lag. On a side note, I accidentally clicked on this link, but this is a really great resource. You can select a bunch of different fonts. You can type in whatever you want. And then you can create this. Click create logo, and then you can click download, and then you can just import it into your project. So that's really great if you're using text. Kind of off topic, but I figured I would just mention it. And now, if you're still here, then thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial.